On August 18, the talks between Trump and Putin sparked widespread attention. Trump's envoy, Witkoff, revealed that Putin agreed to provide security guarantees similar to NATO's Article 5, meaning that if Ukraine is attacked, the US and European countries would respond together, offering Ukraine a form of quasi-NATO protection. However, this concession does not mean Russia is giving up its territorial gains. Instead, it positions the current occupied territories as bargaining chips, reflecting a well-thought-out Russian strategy. Trump later publicly stated that the war could end immediately if Ukrainian President Zelensky is willing, but he emphasized that Crimea would never be returned, and Ukraine would never join NATO. Trump's remarks essentially served as an ultimatum to Zelensky, demanding that he either accept the lost territories or continue fighting. Trump seems more inclined to end the war through symbolic guarantees rather than deep involvement, aiming to shift the responsibility for the war onto Europe. Looking deeper, Trump and Putin seem to have found common ground in some areas, both hoping that Ukraine would no longer rely too heavily on the US and that Europe would take on more responsibility. This could put Zelensky in a difficult position, caught between the two powers and potentially becoming a casualty of their strategic game. Meanwhile, European countries find themselves in a tough spot. While France and the UK have expressed willingness to send security forces, they know this would be far from enough to counter Russia's military pressure. Europe does not want to be sidelined in key decisions, especially if the US and Russia reach an agreement. Putin's concession may bring hope for peace in Ukraine, but the underlying negotiations are far more complex. If Zelensky agrees to a ceasefire, he would have to accept the reality of lost territory and almost entirely forfeit Ukraine's NATO ambitions. If he rejects the ceasefire, the war will drag on, and Ukraine will face even greater economic and civilian pressure. No matter what path Ukraine chooses, it will likely become the biggest victim of this geopolitical struggle.